Welcome to another episode of the Javier and Mo Show. I'm your host, Mo Aziza. I'm sitting with the coach, Javier Mendez. Coach, are you ready for another episode?
Our episode, yes, we're ready.
We're ready.
Yes, we're ready.
Today, we're not only going to cover MMA news, we're going to dive in deeper of, actually, let's start with the Cain Velasquez and the news that broke out yesterday. Coach, I know that Javier, Cain Velasquez is such a good friend of yours, and this topic is quite sensitive, and it's an emotional one for those who know Cain and for those who don't know Cain. I mean, it's such a sad story, and I would like to know from you more about the story and more about Cain.
I'd like to think I like to compose my feelings really, really well, and I'd like to think that, under such an emotional situation that I rode really clean through it. But yesterday, after I heard, when I woke up, that I heard that he got 5 years, on the situation. And I was like, what? I cannot believe it. I was hoping that maybe he would get time served, or maybe he would get one more year of ankle monitor at home so he could be home with his kids, and still provide and be an asset to the community rather than being a liability to the community. So that news kind of broke me up pretty good. And I was very thankful, to be honest with you, that this judge that was assigned to him is a really good guy. Really good guy. And from all the people that were there, they said that he was choked up and on the verdict, giving Cain the verdict. He was very choked up and almost in tears. The judge,
Cain. Okay.
The judge was almost in tears, giving Cain the decision. He didn't want to, but he was bound by the law, whatever particular situation, or maybe bound by politics. I don't know. But also, one other thing to note is this was the judge's last day before he was going to retire.
Wow.
So had we not gotten this judge, and maybe we got another judge, or maybe his opinion would have been much different, like the first judge. If it was up to the first judge, Cain would still not be out on bail. Cain would be doing maximum amount of time. This woman was I'm not going to say the word, but she was every word of that. I was there in court when I saw this woman reject things. Like, for instance, Cain's attorney would say, well, this incident happened because of the result of what happened to Cain's child, and this is why Cain reacted. And that judge, and trying to gain bail, right? Mm-hmm. That judge said that case has nothing to do with this case. This is a separate case. And we, as people in the courtroom, we're like looking at each other like, what the is she talking about? This has everything to do why his actions were they were. They had nothing to do with what she's saying, everything to do with why he acted the way he did. And that first of all, so I'm thankful. Thank God. Thank you, God, for changing that particular judge and giving us this actually really, really good judge that actually was a family man. And actually, I believe that he did the best he could for Cain, so I'm very thankful to him.
So you're happy with the judgment?
I'm not happy with the judgment because he didn't deserve any more time. Obviously, what he did was not right, and it was reckless, and he endangered people's lives, and I agree with that. But also, too, there was a brain scan that was done of him, of himself. I'm sorry, when he was in custody, they did a brain scan of him. They came and did a whole bunch of us also, and they found that Cain had zero impulsivity and able to control his emotions under stress like that. So basically his EEG, they call it. So they did the brain scan of his brain, and they found out he could not control it. And I was like blown away. And then they did one on me, and they told me that my biggest thing is organization, or attention to detail. And my wife always says, attention to what? I'm like, yep, and it's true. I rated a 37 on that, but Cain rated a 0 in impulsivity. And
so he's not impulsive.
He couldn't stop himself. What he did, he just reacted. He couldn't stop what he did. He could not stop it. As incapable of it. Science has proven it as a fact. So he could not do anything about his feelings, his rage. He just went, and it just brought me back to a time when I had him spar with one of my fighters who was half his size. Right, and I told Cain he couldn't hit this guy. All he could do is play defense. So Cain's playing defense and blah, 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 this and that. He's doing really good. And I turn around, I go, do something else while I'm watching the other fighters, and I turn around and I see Cain pick this guy up, throw him on the ground, and foot stomp him. And I was like, what the heck is wrong with you? I go, and I was really upset at him, and I didn't realize that was one of those moments, where he just impulsively just does it, because he got frustrated. So rather than logically thinking I shouldn't do this, he just did it, because that was in his mind. So that's what this is all about, and I have it here from the individuals that did the test. They said impulsivity, control, and zero judgment. He has zero judgment on his brain scan. So he needed a psychologist to help him with this, to help him improve it. 'Cause there is ways to improve it. And so he needed that. So he didn't get that opportunity. So for me, had he gone to trial, it might have worked out. He would have got scot-free, and basically because he was incapable of controlling his emotions. And when you have something that's traumatic as your child, allegedly, and I have to say allegedly because his case is yet to be coming up, but allegedly your child's being molested by this individual at their daycare, the family's daycare, and you report the individual, the guy goes to jail. He goes to jail. Next thing you know, the guy's being let out, but the family's not being aware that this individual got thrown in jail. So Cain finds out this person was let out without him knowing about it. So his wife got very upset, so it led him to a rage, and then he went and he followed these individuals, and then he went in a high car speed chase, which was a bad thing because they should have never done that. That's breaking the law. And then he shot into the vehicle. That's bad too. And then he hit the father-in-law on the shoulder, non-life-threatening injuries, which again, that you can't condone that, but there was justification on why it was done, because he couldn't control himself. And the fact that something traumatic like that happened to his child, that's the bad thing, And for me, the sad part is, his son's trial is going to start. And what about the boy? What about him? What's going to happen to him now that his father's going to be away, and his father can't be there for him on a daily night when he's going through this ordeal with the court case? Because, it's going to be really rough on him. As bad enough as it is, when Cain left, his son was wondering, where's my father? Where's my father? And, obviously, he's not there. And now what's going to happen again? His father's going to feel abandonment again. My dad left me, and going through all the trauma that the poor boy is going to go through. What's he going to go through again? So those ideas really break me up, because as a father, we're there to protect our children from anything, and we'll do anything we can to protect our children. And basically, in a nutshell, that's all he did. I mean, I'm telling you right now, he's not a danger to anybody. He's more of an asset to anybody that's around him. He's just such a beautiful human being. It's anybody that knows him knows what I'm talking about, because they've experienced who Cain Velasquez is, and he's the most beautiful person you can ever think of. And I'm trying to compose myself and start crying like I did yesterday when I was speaking to his lawyer. I could not speak because I got stuck. My mouth just went, and the tears just started coming, and I just the drama of what happened to him, and the thought of his son not being with his father, and the good thing is this judge was really, really, really good, and he did the best he could. So he gave him 5 years, of which time served already with a home ankle bracelet on the home arrest, and the time he was in prison already was 1,283 days. So that's over 3.5 years. So basically, Cain has about 1.5 years left, but the way it works usually under good behavior, you either get an 85% done due time or 80%. So depending on where they put Cain, it'll be either he'll be an 80% or 85%. If he's an 80%, that means basically, 80% out of 5 years is what? It's 4 years. So basically he'll do 4 to 5 months, I'm hoping. Or if it's an 85, he'll probably do 8 months. So with good behavior, if he's good, is it good? And I know he's going to be, because when he's in there, you know what he's going to be? He's going to be an asset to the prisoners that are in there. He's going to do an unbelievable job of teaching them what it takes to be a man and a father, because that's exactly who he is, and a proud man.
Right. I mean, I have to circle back to the test results that you mentioned earlier. I feel like any father, regardless of results, would do the same thing. I mean, nobody can fathom the pain that a father can go through knowing his child. Like if somebody molested your child, you're just going to do exactly the same thing.
To be honest with you, because I will be able to think it clearly, I would have done worse. Because I would have been in my clear mind. I would have made that guy look at my face when I did it to him. I would have done worse. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, I would have done the same thing as he did. No. I would have thought it out properly. I would have done it, and I would have found a way where no one can figure out it was me. But I would have done it. I would have done it where he looked at me for what he did to my child. I would have had him look at me while I punished him. I would have done that. I know that, so, that's how severe it is for us as parents that, you touch our child, and we're going to do whatever we can to make sure that you never touch another child.
That's right. I mean, I don't think anybody on earth, no matter where you're from, can take such thing. I mean, we all unanimously agree that everybody's on Cain's side. Nobody's against that. I mean, yes, if you want to talk about specific and details of that he should not have done it, how he's done it, yes, we can. Even Cain himself agrees that he should not have done it the way it was exactly. But
no, he shouldn't have done it.
Yes.
I mean, in all honesty, what he did was reckless, and he did endanger other lives.
Yes.
What I would have done is not going to be reckless. I would have endangered one life, no one else. Only one person, and that person responsible is who I would have endangered. For damn sure. I can tell you that. For damn fact, that's exactly what I would have done. And no one would have known about it. And they might have suspected it, but no one would have known that. I would have done that because I'm a father and I love my kids. And you touch my kids unjust, I'm sorry, especially a 4-year-old. Give me a break. The way Cain is with his kids, no, it's hard for me it would be too hard for me to not want to seek justice on my own.
Right. I mean, I do believe that Cain deserves more justice than it is, because his poor child has been traumatized twice so far. One by the incident of the harassment, and the other one is by his father going to jail. I mean, poor child does not deserve 2 things in a row.
Now it's 3, because now he has to be there with his father gone again. It's like, I'm trying not to break up, but Cain says to me, he goes, "Hey, guess what?" I go, "What?" Because he kind of goofy like that. I go, "What? What do you mean, what?" He goes, "I told him." I go, "What do you mean? You told who?" "I told my son." I go, "What'd you tell your son?" He goes, "Well, I told him why I was gone." And I go, "Oh."
Did the son understand?
I go, why? He goes, "Well, he needed to know why I was gone." And I go, "No, you're right about that. He did need to know why you're gone, because it's important for him to know." And, well, what did he say? Did he say anything? He goes, "Yeah." He said, "Don't do it again." Now think about that. Don't do it again.
Yeah.
Don't do it again. Don't be gone again. So now, while I'm speaking to his lawyer, who's awesome, her name is Renee Hessling. She's incredible. She's did a fantastic job. Renee, thumbs up for you. You did an awesome job. And the judge, you too. And I know your hands were tied. But anyways, I broke up. I started crying. I couldn't talk to her. I just told her, I said, "Please, just tell Cain I love him."
Yes. But all in all, everyone is happy that the sentence is not longer than that.
Yeah, because that idiot prosecutor, and I won't call him an idiot, because, you're not a humanitarian. You're just doing your stupid thing to try to make your credit by trying to give a celebrity the maximum amount of time, because you don't have a heart, and you're not a real father. If you are a father, shame on you. You try to put a good person away for the rest of their life, to take him away from his children when he's not a danger to anybody. He is a benefit to the society. He's a benefit to humanitarians. Okay, this particular case was something that he needed work on, so he was getting psychologist help to improve that mental thoughts, so he can improve on being able to have that control. There is ways to control it 100%. So shame on you, for doing this to a good person. So him, I could care less about, and I don't think, if he has children, I think you're a horrible father.
It's a sad story. I do feel for his family. I do feel for his child. I hope his child is taken care of, and he would no longer be traumatized. I mean, I don't know. It's such a tough thing. It's such a young age. Yeah.
It's not easy. It's
not
not going to be easy for him. This is not as simple as us talking about it or Cain talking to him. It's one of those deals where his father has to be with him and he has to be spending the time, the quality time. You should see the kind of time he spends with his boy. When he used to bring him to the gym when he was on house arrest, he'd bring his boy with him. And he was happy as heck. He'd go in my office and they'd rearrange my place, my office everywhere. They put stuff everywhere. They play a joke on me all the time. When I come in, I go, "Who did this to me?" And he's just laughing. He goes, "Ha ha, Jab." He calls me Jab. I go, "My name's not Jab." "Yes, it is. Your name's Jab." And I go, "No, it's not Jab." He goes, "Yes, Jab." And I'm like, ah. And I said, "Cain, tell him my name's Javier." He goes, "No, it's Jab to him." I said, "Okay." He's a beautiful little boy, and no father should have to go through that, what he went through. And he's got a beautiful daughter, Coral, too, and, I'm the godfather to her, and for her to have to ordeal with, she's a little older, but still, it's hard for her to see her little brother go through this, and now her father, the second time around, we were all hoping, crossing our fingers. But look, I will say this. The worst case that I was hoping would happen did happen. The worst case, which means that he would be gone less than a year, and that actually did happen. So, but I was hoping for best case, that he would basically time set. Okay, second best case at home, which was what I was hoping. Third worst case was what happened. So I'm glad at least that one, and that's why I'm very thankful to the judge.
Yes.
Because this person has a heart, and I know for a fact any judge that was holding back tears, like they're telling me, everybody was telling me that he had a hard time with it, and his words that he said while he made sense. I mean, made sense to me that this judge, and I knew this judge had a good heart. Can you imagine if we would have got another judge like the first one? They think they're higher than anything, and they were going to punish him no matter what because of what they thought or how they felt. Because I happen to know that some things happened to that judge, and that judge took it out on Cain by doing certain things, by denying him bail, and that was baloney. What I heard, and maybe allegedly I'll say that because I have no proof of it, but I was there personally when she denied bail, and I'm like, she made 0 cents, absolute 0 cents. And when this judge came in and bail, I'm saying his attorney asked for bail, this judge said, "Mr. Velasquez, I know this is like your first time, et cetera, but I believe you're a good family man, and I believe you would never run out on your children and your wife, so I'm going to grant you bail." And I said, now this is a real judge. Okay, what he did, we had to atone for it. We can't basically agree on what he did, but there's a reason why he did it, and that's what we need to correct. Why he did it, we need to correct that. We can't just say, "Well, he's an addict. Oh, let's just throw him away." Well, there's rehab. Let's take him into rehab. Let's correct this person. He needs a chance, an opportunity to get corrected. Well, this is not the case. An addict. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying he had a problem with his brain that wasn't able to function properly under stress and those situations. Impulsivity, so he just reacted. I mean, traumatize your child, something happens to your child. What happens to road rage? What do people do in road rage? How many times did you hear someone kill each other over stupid road rage? They can't control it. How many times has that happened? It's crazy. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. And this is me, and you're gonna laugh, and you're gonna go, "Wow, this stuff's real." Okay, so here I am driving normally in my car, blah blah blah. I'm looking both ways. I'm looking ahead, and as I'm going out, I'm in the right of way, and people are looking at me. They're swearing at me, like blah blah blah, and they're flipping me off, which. If you do that here, bye-bye, which I would never do that. But anyways, they flipped me off. And I'm like, it wasn't my fault. It was completely their fault. So I just, okay, whatever. I ignored it. And about a week later, it happened again. Someone did that. I go, but it wasn't my fault. And they swearing at me, beeping the horn at me, this and that. And I'm like going, okay, calm myself, relaxed. And this is about 20 years ago this happened to me. So anyways, again, another altercation happened, and this time it was me. I screwed up. I'm backing up, and I wasn't looking to my right. Now you have cameras where you can see you're backing up. I wasn't looking to my right, and I hear this beep, 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 and I'm like going, oh. And I looked over. It was this two elderly couple. Okay, they were elderly, and they were probably 70s, 60s, 70s. I don't really know. And I'm not looking at him and go, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And they weren't having it. They were swearing at me, pointing their finger at me. And all of a sudden, I snapped. I snapped at an elderly couple. I said, blah, 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 you blah, 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 blah. And I pointed at them real angry. I said, yeah. And they went like, oh, and they just took off. As they took off, I'm going, oh my God, I cannot believe I just did that. I snapped at two elderly people that couldn't defend themselves for nothing. And it was my fault. And it was only because they snapped at me because of, obviously they were in the right, but I snapped, and I went, I understand road rage. And, so many things, they happen. You have to, and that's how I started learning how to relax more. If you learn to relax more, I was learning to relax then 20 years ago, but I learned after that incident to stay even more relaxed, to not let these things affect you because they end up in a bad result, and what you do as a result of that. Look what I did. I mean, what would have happened if I gave one of them a heart attack because of the way I acted? How good do you think I would have felt about that? I'd have felt like I was the worst person on earth,
Or your kids, how would they feel that their father done
They
that?
wouldn't think good about their father, and they shouldn't have. I should have been able to control that emotion. But I'm just saying the road rage is real.
It's real.
And I controlled it the first two times. They weren't my fault.
Yes.
The time it was my fault, and I apologize for it. I couldn't control it. So
Yeah. No, it happens to all of us. I mean, road rage is everybody's test in life.
yeah,
Everybody goes through this.
Well, I have my individual that takes care of me here, and we got in a situation where we stopped behind a car, and that car started to back up, and we were behind him, but without even looking, he started backing up. So my guy's beeping the horn at him, like beep, beep, beep the horn at him, and the guy looks at the window. He looks at my guy, and he looks like he wanted to, destroy my guy. My guy did the most beautiful thing and just said sorry, and just like move on. No reaction, no words were exchanged with my guy, just moved on. And I said, you know what? I go, thank you. I go, because that's what I expect you to do. Exactly that. No one was hurt. Him being very upset at us, it's his fault, granted 100%. But there's no need for you to escalate it. And he didn't. He did a beautiful job. And that's the way I 100% would have handled it myself.
Yeah.
Just move on. Don't bother with it.
Personally, every time I get into any similar situation in the road, I have to instantly tell myself, will this matter in a year? And obviously the answer is always no. Like, whatever happened at that instant, will it matter in a year? Did somebody blocked you or something happened? Would this matter in a year? It wouldn't. So why should I care right now? Why shouldn't I just let go immediately? And I have to always tell myself, like right now when I was coming to the studio, somebody came in front of me and braked. I'm like, will this matter in a year? No. Keep driving.
Well, don't even think about a year. Think about the next second. Does it really matter?
No, I always put the year with every situation. Like if I get in a conflict with anything, will this matter in a year? I always tell myself every time of any conflict, will this matter in a year? If the answer is yes, then yes, I will dive in. But if the answer is no, immediately I will just back out.
And that's the correct answer.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, sometimes when you react, the repercussions and what happens as a result of your reactions, it could be life-threatening.
It could be. It could be.
And why? For what? No one got hurt.
Yeah.
No one got hurt.
And it's going to happen every day. Like, I mean, the road thing happens every day.
Every day, yeah. It's like I give you situations that happen when people, this happened to me about 7 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe 6 years ago. I think 6 years ago, before COVID. I was with a good friend of mine, Tony Valente, who's a master with weapons. He's a knife fighting. He was a kickboxing guy. He did a lot of weapons, but he's a weapons expert. And we were walking in the Las Vegas Boulevard, and as we're walking, there was like, you've seen these gang members, they're gang members, and the guy that was out front sees me walking, and I'm watching him, and he puts his foot out there to trip me. And what I did, because I'm looking straight ahead like I'm looking at you, and all I did is I lifted my right leg right over his leg that he tried to trip me on, and I just walked through. And my friend Tony goes, did you see what just happened? I go, yeah. So he goes, well, let's go back and tune these guys up. I said, Tony, what did he do? Did he harm me? He goes, no, but he tried. I go, yeah, but did he accomplish anything? He didn't touch me. It's okay. And I go, why? Why do we want to go back? Okay, we'll beat him up. Okay, big deal. But then what if they have a gun? What if they have a knife? Well, if they have a knife, no problem. I'll blah, blah, take his knife. Okay, maybe. Okay, but why? He didn't do any damage to me. And if I'm okay with it, why would you be okay? He goes, well, let me go back and tune them up myself. I was about 5 or 6 of these guys, right? And he goes, let me go back. I said, no, Tony, it's not worth it. Let's just move on, He goes, all right, man, I respect you, but if that was me and that happened to me, I'd have been blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, but then you might be in trouble too because, I mean, it's reality, You're going in a confrontational area where these guys wanted problems. They wanted problems. That's why they tried to trip me.
Yes.
They wanted to laugh at me falling on the ground, but the laugh was on them because I just brought my foot over like nothing was even there.
Or they want to fight. I mean,
no, they wanted problems. Trust me, they wanted problems. So they wanted problems because there's no way you do that on purpose. They did it on purpose. They tried to hurt me, but it didn't work. So who cares?
Right. I mean, these type of people, the ones on the street, I mean, you do encounter them a lot in Europe and in America. And it's just because of their negative mind state, they want always negativity and they attract it. So why should you engage with somebody's negativity? I mean, in life, it's either or, right? Like, you either go and meet people that is going to be positive or entertaining or maybe just at least good in somewhat. But if you're going to meet somebody that is going to bring you trouble, you would not meet them, like a friend or something. You're like, this guy is just headache. So same thing goes to the people on the street. Why would you engage with people who you know that they just want trouble? So why would you put yourself, why would you be a mirror to them? Just be you. As you did, you just this me. I'm not gonna get engaged in this stuff.
Yeah. And what we did is I didn't look back. I didn't look back at them all. They were looking at us. Yeah. He actually was very good too. He's a professional too. He looked ahead, but he was saying like where you and I are looking at each other without looking back at them. Let's go back. I said no.
Yeah.
Let's go forward. Let's enjoy our time. Yes. We're enjoying our conversation. Yes. Let's go forward because if we would have looked back. If we would have looked back and engaged with them,
that's it.
It's on.
Yeah.
And then at that point, now I have to act.
Yeah.
Why do I want to act? I ruined my day. What if I end up in jail? What if I end up doing something to them or they do something to me or they shoot me or something? Anything's possible. There was 6 of them, 2 of us.
Yeah.
Now, the likelihood of them not having any weapons, I don't know. They have to have something to do what they're doing. Because in Vegas, you can carry. So who knows? That's number 1. Number 2, what if we killed one of them?
Yes. Somebody's going to get hurt.
Yeah. Someone's going to get hurt. It's not like I'm a rookie or something. I don't know how to protect myself. And him, we definitely know how to protect ourselves. I'm telling you this, a lot better than they could have. And they didn't realize the hornet's nest that they almost got involved in because that would have been bad for them, and in all honesty, because the surprise would have been us to them, not them to us.
Yes,
because we were the more experienced ones.
Yeah.
But they wanted an altercation. We just didn't give it to them.
And it's gonna happen all the time. Like it's not a one-time thing. So I'm saying if you go with that mindset, it's like you shouldn't engage. And that's like, for example, thank God we don't have these stories here in Dubai. I mean, people here do behave, but every time I travel, every time I'm in Europe, it's a constant thing, and you have to keep your mind and you, like as you said, look straight ahead and keep walking. Do not engage. There's nothing going to come out of it.
No,
nothing's going to come out of it.
Nothing. Just be confident. Don't show fear. Don't show fear. You show fear,
but don't engage. I mean, you should not. Yeah, no fear because it might happen. So you should not fear it.
Just prepare for action.
Just don't engage. That's another story. Yeah. Fear is something, but engaging is something else. Like, why would you stop? Why would you? What's the point? Absolutely zero benefit out of the situation.
100%.
So, Coach, let's talk about the UFC London event. What fights did you watch?
I only got to watch the Leon Edwards fight,
Okay.
And
Sean Brady.
Yes, I saw that fight. And I got to say my opinion, and I heard, and don't know if it's true, but I heard that Leon Edwards had staph, police out.
Yes.
So
It was obvious on his arm.
yeah, I
Yeah.
saw it. I saw it. I went, whoa, it's right. You could see it's very obvious. And I
Yes.
went, oh my gosh. So that in itself is something very difficult to deal with. It's a mental thing and a physical thing. So having staph, it mentally drains you and it physically drains you.
So how much do you think it physically drains you? Like if you see a fighter out of 10, like how much would that drop? Or like let's say, would it drop 30% of his performance, 20%? How much do you think, like roughly speaking?
You know, when you're talking about percentage, people
Yes.
say I'm 50% or I'm this.
Yeah.
I don't really know. All I know
Like
is
from your
they're not as
observation
strong.
of
My observation, they're not as strong. They're not as
So
strong.
it's
Their
significantly
their
dropped.
cardio drops. Their strength drops. The most important thing of anything is their mental. Their mental drops. And I'll explain to you a little later. But in regards to Leon, the first thing I noticed when they were going in, Brady was going at him, being very aggressive, doing good job, this and that. Leon kind of like embraced with him, like came inside and clinched with him, and he stayed there. And I'm like, oh no, this is not Leon. There's no way his corner told him to do anything of that nature. I think personally, from watching the fight the whole time and seeing Leon just not motivated, he wasn't sharp. He just wasn't sharp. And I don't know whether he didn't want to fight that fight, whether the mentality of what happened was too much for him. I don't know. All I do know is that was in him. I know his corner was imploding him to come on, let's take on the plan. And he didn't do it. I just think there's nothing you could have done at that particular time. It was mentally beat. And it wasn't that Sean Brady was doing some unbelievable striking job. He wasn't. What he was doing was doing an unbelievable job of pressure, unbelievable job of controlling him. But Leon, on the other hand, was doing completely opposite what I seen the last guy that beat Usman, Kamaru Usman. Now that guy, the guy that, not the first fight, the first fight was a guy that never quit. Okay, let's put it that way. The first guy that never quit that beat Usman the first time. I didn't see that Leon. I didn't see that Leon coming whatsoever close to being that guy. His striking was sharp. His mental attitude was sharp. His wanting to win was sharp. So therefore, no one was going to tell him he was going to win. If you remember watching the fight, they were almost singing, "Oh, the ships are sailed, blah, blah, blah. It's good for..." And then somebody forgot to tell Leon that, yeah, you're not supposed to win. And he goes out and win. So the second fight, what did he do? He goes and rides on that. But this fight, I didn't see that. I seen somebody that just, in my opinion, and I'm not saying I'm right, didn't want to be there.
Unfortunately for Leon Edwards, and a lot of people do agree that yes, he was not there, but it's a common thing with Leon. He doesn't show up all the time. I mean, he has a great record, but I'm saying you can see him mentally in most fights. Most fights, he's just not there. And you come and think about it, it's like, what is it? What is it? What is he thinking about? What's going through his ears? You know what I mean? But what's happening in his brain? Why is he not? Because he got great skills. I've always been the biggest Leon supporter. When he fought Nate Diaz, I was live on national television, and I was like, there is no way Leon Edwards is losing. Everybody's like, what? It's Nate Diaz. I'm like, he's not losing the fight. Leon got great skills, but he doesn't show up all the time, and that's his downfall.
Well, in this one here, did he not show up because he's fed? Did he not show up because it was the staff? Did he try to show up, but the pressure from Brady was too much? Because I'm not in his corner. I don't know. All I do know is this. When you have staph, I'll use my guy Luke Rockhold when he was fighting Chris Weidman. Luke had staph the week of. Okay, so he goes, antibiotics and all. We already know he's drained. We were all in the back room before we were going to the arena. We were all like just quiet. And Luke Rockhold, he did something unbelievable. He goes, "What the heck are you guys doing? You guys think you're acting like we're going to a dang funeral. We're going to win a world title. Wake up." And we're like, "Oh, yeah, we're going to win a world title. What are we thinking? Wake up. Oh, our guy's ready to go. So we better get ready to go too." So what happens? We go into the fight. Luke Rockhold does exactly that. He became a superstar that day in his performance. with staph, it didn't even affect him. Because why? He didn't care. He didn't use that as a reason to not perform. Yes, it made him weaker. Yes, he had it, but he did not let it affect his mental. So the best Luke Rockhold with staph came out. So what I'm trying to say here is you can have staph, but if you have your mental that strong, you can override it and still perform great. You won't perform at your best, impossible, because if you have something that's draining you, that's a fact. Staff's going to drain you to some degree. So if you allow the mental to beat you too, then it's going to be worse. Luke Rockhold did not allow it to beat him, and therefore he won the world title.
I mean, speaking of your team too, Habib's last fight, he went in with a broken toe, right?
Yes, he went in with the broken toe, and I wanted to cancel that fight so many times. It's the worst camp ever. And I'm like, Habib, cancel the fight. No, coach. No, please. No, let's not cancel. Habib, you can cancel the fight. We'll fight a month later. No, please, coach. No cancel. Don't cancel. I said, okay, Habib, but if you don't look good by this day, we'll cancel, right? He goes, okay, coach. If I don't look good by that day, cancel. That day comes around. He looks great. So I'm like, okay, we'll do it.
Like how many days far away from the fight?
It was about 3 weeks out from the fight, you know.
Okay.
So, you know, he looked great. Then I'm thinking, okay, let's go. The next thing you know, he's looking great. So I'm saying, okay, next thing you know, breaks his toe.
So okay, when I asked him how many days, I thought that's when his toe.
It breaks his toe. I wanted him to quit before that because he was sick.
Okay, so he had something else.
Yeah, he was sick. He was sick already. That was the worst camp ever. He was sick and everything. The worst camp. It wasn't just the toe. That wasn't the big thing. So he breaks his toe, and I'm like,
And that's how many weeks into the fight?
now we're talking 2.5 weeks out, you know, somewhere in there. And because remember, it was at 3 weeks when I wanted him to cancel because he was sick too much. And before that, I wanted him to cancel too, but he wouldn't do it. And
so now he canceled this. He broke his toe.
He broke his toe, and I told him, no, Habib, let's cancel the. You can't fight the way you need to. No, coach, please. Let me. So okay, fine. If you don't do this, we'll do this by this day. Okay, fine. So he wore a shoe. So if you've watched some of the practice videos, you'll see he was wearing one shoe. So he sparred, but he's sparring great. He's doing fantastic in the stand-up. He's doing unbelievable. His stand-up got so good. It was another Habib level on the stand-up. But you know, it's always known that Habib only trained with me in the stand-up, wouldn't train with no one at home, only me, you know, and a few other people that are associated with me. But he didn't train much with stand-up. I was the majority of his teacher for stand-up. His father was the majority of the ground and the mental, but I was the majority of the stand-up and part of the mental. His father was more mental than I was. But anyways, long story short, this is what happened that made me the most comfortable I've ever been in any fight in my whole entire life. Habib says to me, Coach, my toe may be broken, but my mental is not. I said, done. We're not losing this fight no matter what. I went into that fight with Justin Gaethje going, there is no way my guy is losing. I was getting to learn how to be relaxed in the fights, but that was the most relaxed I've ever been. So confident. Even when Justin hit him a few times, I was like, big deal. And he destroyed him. And then what happened is, rather than put Justin in one of those situations where he could broke his arm, because you know Habib changed it because he saw his parents were there, so he changed it. So instead of that, did with a choke instead. Why? Because he knew the guy wasn't going to tap, and he didn't want to hurt him in front of his parents. That's how good he was in that fight. And that was the worst training camp. So what I'm trying to say here is, you can have the worst training camp ever, but if your mind is there, you can do so much with the mind. There's limitations. Don't get me wrong. There's limitations. There's certain type of breaks that there's just nothing you can do that's going to make you 100% beat a great opponent. But a toe that's broken like his was, it wasn't the main toe. It was not the main one. If it was the main big toe, you know, then that, I don't know how far we could have gone. It probably would have still worked, but it would have been a hardship.
But regardless, it's still a toe. And Conor McGregor, he broke a toe with his last fight, and he pulled out of the fight last second. So I'm saying people do pull out of fights off a broken that little toe. They do pull out,
but rightfully so.
Yeah,
rightfully so. So
I'm saying Habib didn't pull out.
No,
and he was one of his best performances.
It was a great performance. It was one of my most confident performances, but it was also the dagger that I didn't know was coming. He says that this is my last fight, and he didn't tell me. I don't know if who he told me. He definitely didn't tell me, and I'm just going, my first superstar, like superstar that I thought was going to be on the biggest level of all, because he already was there.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, okay, and I accepted
Like
it right
you're
then
going
and
to
there.
miss him.
I already accepted it right then and there. I
yeah,
said,
yeah.
okay, we'll just do some other things because that's okay. That's his life. That's what he wanted to do. And, you know, he promised his mother, and who am I? Who am I to discuss with him about anything? Nothing. I discussed never with him. Why did you retire? Why didn't you tell me? Nah, that never came up ever. Ever. Never came up, and I don't need to. I don't need to ask him. It's between him and his mother. So when people say, is he going to come back? I go, I don't know. As far as I'm saying, no. He made a deal with his mother, so I don't see him breaking that. And if he does come back, that's between him and his mother, not me. He'll discuss with his mother, make that decision. I'm his coach, but I'm not his mother. I'm not his father. You know, I'm his coach. If he wants to fight, I'm there for the fight. But what he wants to do, that's between his family.
Right. Beautiful. So we could agree that having an injury or an infection should not stop you losing. Should not stop you from winning a fight.
It cannot. It doesn't have to be the reason why you lost the fight. It could mean that it's an obstacle that you either can make it overcome, or maybe it's an obstacle because your opponent's just so damn strong that you couldn't overcome. There's so many variables. It's not as simple as that.
But let's hold on for a minute. I mean, with Kamaru Usman, the first fight, Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman, he was losing until that head kick. So, all right, let's get that out of the way. The second fight, he won it, fair and square. Then he faced Colby. Good fight. Bilal Muhammad, he lost. And he was dominated. Then Sean Brady, he lost. Dominated. So I'm saying, if like, it's not he was a dominator and then he had one bad performance. It's like good, bad. It's like, what's going on in your head, Leon? What's going on?
Only he knows, and his coaches know. I have zero knowledge in that.
So now the good news is I'm actually excited for Sean Brady and Bilal Muhammad too. Do you remember the first? You were here. Were you watching it live? Were you here in Abu Dhabi?
I was not all that enthused about that fight.
The first one?
I was not.
Why?
I just wasn't.
He was training with you that camp, right?
I know, but I was. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about Bilal's performance. His performance was fantastic. I'm talking about Brady's performance. Didn't. I wasn't over the. You know, I wasn't like, oh my God, look at Brady. I didn't see. It
was nothing. Yeah, I mean, that was proof Bilal was actually great.
Yeah, I didn't see anything spectacular from him. I saw a good fighter, a definitely good fighter, and maybe he can be the champion. I don't know, but I'm just being honest. In my opinion, on a technical level, outside of the ground control he had with Leon, but Leon's not known for being great on the ground either.
But he got good. Great defensive wrestling.
Yeah, he does. So I'm just saying, Sean Brady's performance was good. But was it great? No. Leon's performance was bad. I can say that.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that
Powerful.
Leon's performance was going to be good. That I'm not saying that Brady wouldn't have won. I don't know that. I'm just stating facts. From my opinion, that was not Leon. That's all I'm saying. And Leon could have showed up, and Brady could have still beat him. But
you don't think
show up.
Sean Brady is because right now he's the number one contender. So do you think he's actually the number one contender in your books? You don't think so?
And me, no. I think Shavkat is. You know, I think
Shavkat, of course.
He's the number one contender because I don't.
But do you put him in your top 3 welterweights right now?
No, he's top 2.
In your books?
In my book, Brady's top 2. What he did is top 2 for sure. But I think Shavkat's ahead of him.
Of course.
That's all. That's all.
So you just didn't like his performance with Bilal, and he didn't see anything crazy.
No. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I didn't like his performance. I just didn't think it was spectacular. Okay, I didn't think his performance was spectacular. I think it was dominating, but he dominated a guy that I personally felt didn't want to be there. That's my opinion, and that's all I'm saying. It was my opinion. Am I wrong? Am I right? I could be wrong. I could be right. That's just my opinion.
Right.
Not taking nothing away from Sean Brady. He's an incredible fighter, and he could very well be the next champ for sure. He has the skill set to do that. Anything with those guys, top 3, top 5, top 10, Any one of those guys can win the title. So my opinion is, oh, he'll never win the title. You know what? You're full of baloney, dude. Any one of those guys can win the title. So don't go telling me that, oh, he's not going to. I could never tell you Sean Brady can never win the title because he's that good. So he can beat anybody. You can't say that. You cannot say that. How many times have we seen guys that weren't supposed to win? They were underdog by this amount, 11-1, 12-1, and they end up winning in incredible fashion. It happens. So,
but but nobody would think that they would win. But with Sean Brady, I mean, his only loss in his career is actually the Bilal Muhammad.
Bilal Muhammad.
But other than that, he's been killing it. I mean,
yeah. But then that one he didn't look so great because the wrestling killed him with Bilal, and his stand up is good, but it's not great. It's not great. Stand up's not great. It's good. It's good, but it's not great. You know. And I'm telling you, in my opinion, you know, that was not Leon Edwards' best stand-up performance. I've seen him. He trained with me for 2 camps, so I know how good this guy is.
Leon trained with
Yes, he trained with me, so I know how good he is, and I know how great he is. And I'm sorry, I didn't see a champion that wanted to come back to be a champion. I did not.
Sure. That's
I did not.
Sure. Yeah.
I knew right off the bat when he clinched with him, you know, and if you talk to his corner, I bet you his corner is going to give you a lot of reasons and explainable situations as to why he didn't do as well as he should have. And he probably could have done better had he been, you know, mentally there. And I don't know the situation. All I know is he wasn't who I remember and should have seen fight. Okay. And Edwards just wasn't there. For me, he wasn't. And that doesn't mean that he would have beat Brady. He might have still lost, but at least he could have been there and gave it a better fight.
Beautiful. Well, guys, let's just end on this note. Please like and subscribe. And Coach, thank you again for your time.
No problem.
See you guys in the next episode.
Next episode. Bye-bye. See you guys. This guy's an instigator.